I'm Sean McCready, and welcome to the Philanthropy Podcast, where we explore joys, challenges, and opportunities in philanthropy so leaders and aspiring leaders in fundraising can create a more caring and connected world. Today's a special episode in that I want to share a bit of a life update with you. This isn't going to be the most fundraising heavy episode we have, but I know I don't always get to share much about my life in our interviews, so I hope this helps you to know me just a little bit better. Also, this might explain a bit why one week's episode came out later than typical and has pushed back my schedule a bit. I still have plans to catch up, meaning that 1 week soon I'll have 2 episodes, but right now I haven't got there quite yet. There's only one request I have from you today. If you could head over to iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts at, and please leave a review and rating. I'd be so grateful. Right now, our show only has about 13 reviews on iTunes, and we have far more listeners than that on the show. So, if you'd be willing to take 3 minutes and do that, I'd be incredibly grateful. So the big news. I've changed jobs. If you didn't know already, previously I was working for the Archdiocese of Chicago as our Senior Major Gift Officer. I loved the work of the Archdiocese and was able to do fundraising for our school system, for anti-violence initiatives in Chicago, for basic human services programs that the Catholic Church in Chicago sponsors, and many more great causes. I was also fortunate to work with some great teammates in our offices. Ultimately, though, I struggled a bit with the pace we moved at. The Catholic Church isn't exactly known for being the fastest moving organization, and I started to wonder if this was the right place for me at this moment in my life and my career when I felt like I have a fairly substantial amount of experience in development and want to put new ideas into action and stay at the cutting edge of the fundraising world. I ended up being approached by an executive search consultant at a great search firm here in Chicago that I had worked with before. Their name's Campbell & Company, and it turned out that Campbell & Company was heading up a search in the education field for a nonprofit named Horizons for Youth that fit my interests in multiple ways. Now, let me tell you a bit about Horizons for Youth. We're Chicago's only kindergarten through college scholarship and support organization. We accept students who come from under-resourced communities who will be the first in their family to graduate from college. Serving students in charter schools, faith-based schools, private schools, and public schools. Once accepted, we partner with our students and our families to provide need-based scholarships, one-on-one mentoring, one-on-one tutoring, monthly enrichment outings, individual and family counseling as needed, and so much more. Our students can be accepted as early as kindergarten, and Horizons for Youth serves them all the way through the successful completion of college and now into their start of their career. One of the major points that drew me to Horizons for Youth is that acceptance isn't merit-based. We work closely with school leaders, teachers, and our current parents to encourage students and families to apply who will fully partner with us and who need our services most. Many schools have identified that the services we offer help students who have diverse learning needs, and therefore, we've become a leading source in that area and have developed a reputation for excellence in serving students with special learning needs through things like ensuring that their tutoring is done one-on-one with a licensed teacher, and most often a licensed special education teacher. I love this aspect of the program because while there are loads of great options for those who are in the top 1 to 5% of academic test scores, I've always believed that there needs to be more support for the students who could be performing at higher levels, but we haven't figured out how to best teach them yet. And also, quite frankly, even if a student tests at a low percentile, he still has human dignity and she still has dreams, and Horizons for Youth commits to helping these and all students achieve those dreams. So you could see that this program is pretty amazing already. But what doesn't come across in the description of our services is just how amazing the community around and within Horizons for Youth is. There are a few groups that I want to cover here. Some just to brag about. Others to give some insight into what I think is on our horizon for fundraising. But that means a quick hit on our students, our families, our volunteers, our supporters, and our staff. Students. Our students are amazing. Because our program isn't merit-based, it means we have to cover the entire spectrum of student types and personalities. Some of our students are bookish, others athletic, some are gamers, some are artistic. It goes on and on. What really has stood out to me in these first few weeks is that all of our students are so trusting once they've been in the program for a while. They know they're working hard at school and at things much bigger than school. As one student put it to me this weekend when I asked what I needed to know about Horizons for Youth because, I'm new and I'm looking for some advice. This is what she told me. Everyone here is kind. That's the one thing everyone seems to have in common. So, be kind and you'll fit in. What a great sentiment. And I love that our students pick up on that. I'm so excited to work with these kids. They're incredibly kind, they're incredibly caring, and they're incredibly dedicated to being the best that they can be. Next up, our families. Our families are where the first real common denominator of our students comes into play. All our families are full of the type of people looking for any edge to help their children. Our families may be one guardian, it may be both parents, grandparents, and siblings, but whatever the number and whatever the type of people who make up our families, they've either been identified as someone who would take full opportunity of the services we offer, or they sought us out themselves. Either way, what they all have in common is that they're working hard to make lives of their students better. I'll link to a video of one of our families in the show notes, and if you don't get moved to tears, then I don't know what else I could show you, but they're truly remarkable in so many ways. Next up are our volunteers. Horizons for Youth engages over 450 volunteers on a regular basis. When I was looking at the 990 to kind of get an idea of the financial health of this organization before I joined, I saw that number 450 and I thought to myself that's probably just the number of people who pop in for a volunteer day or a service day. But no, these aren't volunteers in that sense. These are people who are dedicating 2 to 4 times per month that they'll engage with our students as mentors or tutors. They're incredible. The depth of their knowledge of our students is mind-blowing and such an incredible asset to our students and their families. These volunteers are also amazing examples of what we can do when we're willing to take some time from our months to be wholly committed to helping someone else. I can never thank these people enough, and I know that our staff and our families feel the same way. Next up are our staff. There's not too many of us, to be honest. We're about 16 strong, and boy is this staff strong. I've now completed my one-on-one conversations with the entire staff, and what struck me in every single one of them was how much the staff praised one another. Whether it was praising someone for their perspective, their leadership, their compassion, their caring, their creativity, their organization, whatever it was, the team all recognized and acknowledged one another's strengths. And they fit together so well. I'm honestly blown away by this team. I've thought to myself a couple times, how did they manage to hire such a great and cohesive and cooperative group of people? People are so focused on solutions here, seeing challenges not as barriers, but as hurdles, and they're all willing to chip in. There wasn't a single person who expressed any hesitancy about helping us spread the word of our mission or raise funds for the cause. It's truly a team effort. It's so exciting to be part of that. Finally, our benefactors. I've been fortunate to dive into conversations with our benefactors, including our board members and a couple of our larger supporters in our first few weeks. These people are so dedicated to the cause. I haven't heard a single person question the need for this mission, the use of our funds, or the importance of growing our program even further. Each and every person so far has only expressed a desire to do more. They've said they'll gladly throw open their networks, their influence, their financial support, their expertise, all in support of the children of Horizons for Youth. I'm excited to work with this group of people and really help us to expand what we're able to do with their help and their partnership. Now, with that rosy picture painted, I want to be sure to let you know that we're not without a whole bunch of challenges, but our challenges are the ones that you want to be facing. How do we grow our program to better serve more students? Which areas of programming do we need to prioritize? How do we prepare for problems we haven't faced yet as we expand and grow? How do we boost the awareness of Horizons for Youth? How do we engage new donors? How do we effectively grow the number of students we serve when we serve them for such a long time? How do we keep finding more volunteers and tutors? How do we recruit the right types of parents and families to apply to our program? There's a couple more challenges like that we're trying to tackle on a daily basis. But I couldn't be in a happier place trying to solve these problems together with this team. So, that's my update. If anyone wants to check out Horizons for Youth, the website is a simple horizons-for-youth.org. You can also follow us on Twitter at HorizonsFY or on Facebook at facebook.com/Horizons for Youth Chicago. I'll be sure to link to these in our show notes, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm really excited to work on behalf of this cause. On other fun news in our family, many of you have heard me talk about my wife's podcast. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned Molly's nonprofit, though. It's called Croso. Well, both of these have been getting a lot of attention lately, and for good reason. Turns out, my wife's kind of incredible. Recently, she was honored by her alma mater, the University of Dayton, as the recipient of their Young Alumni Award for her work with Croso, which helps transform Ugandan communities by offering post-secondary scholarships to former street children in Uganda. Croso is celebrating their 10th anniversary this year, and riding the high of a sold-out benefit dinner and what hopes to be some record-setting fundraising numbers. At the same time, this lady is hustling, and her own podcast, The Nonprofit Optimist, is also growing at an awesome rate. The Nonprofit Optimist focuses on stories of small nonprofits, typically under 15 employees, and provides a great resource for people who can benefit from shared experiences in that space. Other than that, things are pretty calm in the McCready household. On the Philanthropy podcast side of the house, things are going pretty well. I've picked up some supplies that I think will improve our sound quality and make my editing a little easier. I also signed up with an online scheduling tool because I realized I needed help managing all the bookings for the show. Next week, I should actually have an affiliate link for you in case you find that you don't like the way you schedule meetings and events and want a solution that works quite well and will take some of that time away from your day-to-day scheduling. So far, I'm very impressed with this tool, and they've saved me tons of time. Also, I'm starting my first coaching relationship that's coming as a result of the Philanthropy podcast. I'm looking forward to working with them to improve their fundraising results through direct coaching, and I'll be sure to keep you posted on how that goes. I'm currently working on putting together next week's episode, which will likely focus on some ideas in the major gift space, but also lining up future episodes on planned giving, rapid response to opportunities or crisis response, more annual fund topics, an episode on the value and best practices around high-quality administrative assistance, a few more data episodes, and lots of other ideas that are in the early stages. Remember, if you have an episode idea or a suggested guest for the show, please let me know. You can visit thephilanthropypodcast.com/feedback to pass those along. Thank you to the Barely Ready broadcast for sharing our episode last week. The Barely Ready broadcast is a weekly podcast focusing on pop culture, literature, film, and television. This week, my one request for you is to head to iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, and please leave that rating and review. Like I said earlier, I currently only have 13 iTunes reviews, and there are way more listeners to the show than that. I know it takes a solid 3 minutes and time is valuable, but those 3 minutes make a world of difference. Plus, I get uber excited about the new reviews. Like the last one, it came from Scooter, the host of the Sleep With Me podcast. If you don't know anything about the Sleep With Me podcast, it's brilliant. The host tells stories that are interesting enough that you don't mind listening, but not interesting enough that they'll keep you from falling asleep. If this isn't brilliant, I don't know what is. And Sleep With Me now has thousands of downloads daily for people who are trying to fall asleep and struggling with it. So just know, I read those reviews. I love seeing your thoughts, and they make a difference in supporting the show. So pop on over to iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and please leave a rating and review. With that, I'd like to thank Jason Shaw, whose Forever Believe and Feels Good to Be are provided under a Creative Commons license and greet us and take us out each week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your incredible and impactful work, and have a great week.